Morning. Are you coming in then? Good morning, and what a special show we've got lined up for you today. Today's going to be a good one. We've got social media star Joe Sugg will be here in the house all morning to chat about his love of nature over a couple of delicious recipes. Me and my trusty Minnie are heading down to Devon, another one of my classic food adventures around the UK. And we're joined by one of the greatest chefs this country has ever produced, where my good mate Daniel Clifford takes over the kitchen a little bit later. And if you're looking for recipe ideas for vegetables, then that are banging season right now, then don't miss this week's little masterclass in cauliflower. That's not all, because I'm here in the kitchen with also a good mate of mine who just happens to be an amazing chef as well, and is becoming a regular visitor to this part of Hampshire. It's brilliant, Cyrus Tony Waller! We're kicking things off today, and I'll be showing you how to make a classic Scotch eggs that I'm going to serve with a simple little garlic rapeseed oil mayonnaise. We're going to get onto the rapeseed oil in a second, because that's the base of this. But first of all, run through the ingredients for a classic Scotch egg. So we start off with, obviously, sausage meat. The best way to do that is by really good quality sausages, as simple as that. Take it out of the skins. It's already done for you. It's already seasoned. You don't have to do anything else. The eggs themselves, these are soft-boiled. 6 minutes for a medium egg. Straight into boiling water, take them out into iced cold water, then they're peeled. So they're sort of soft-boiled. And then we've got the flour, egg and breadcrumbs. So this is your seasoned flour, your beaten egg, and your breadcrumbs. This is called to pane. So we've got this combination of flour, egg and breadcrumbs, which I'm sure you have in India as well.
Yep.
This combination.
Everyone does that.
Everybody does it as well. But there we go, flour, egg and breadcrumbs seasoned. And then these breadcrumbs that we're using panko crumbs, which are sort of a dried and shaved rather than a classic sort of breadcrumbs which are just blended and dried. These give you a much more crispier...
and a fluffier texture.
Fluffier, crispier coating on the outside as well. Now, to start off with these the Scotch egg bits, first of all. So what I'm going to do is start off with a little bit of water in our bowl. And it's a good idea to get your hands wet first of all, and then take some of this sausage meat. You want sort of a little ball like that, and press it into your wet hands. The important bit is if you use wet hands, it stops the sausage meat sticking to your fingers. And you want it sort of nice and even, about 1/2 centimetre thick, would you say? Something like that, all the way around there. And then take your egg and pop it in the centre. And you want to encase this in. Now, if you encase it in, it's important that you sort of bring the sausage meat around this. And the important thing also is make sure it's nicely encased, but there's no air in there.
Absolutely.
Because it'll pop.
You got a big crack in the middle.
Yeah, big crack in the centre of it. So what you want to do is just get it like that, mould them all so you can't see almost the join, which we've got in there. And then it goes in the flour, first of all. Think of this, the glue part of it. Then in the egg. This creates that nice little bit of glue. And then in the crumb. And you roll this in the breadcrumbs. Now, it'll sort of fall out of shape a little bit with this, but once it's in the crumb, you can also bring this back together and mould it into your sort of Scotch egg. There we have that one, like that. I'll do one more. So make sure your hands are nice and wet, really, for this one, like that. I'm sure you must have an Indian alternative to this, don't you?
Actually, classically, it's Persian.
Is it?
It's called Nargisi kofta.
Right.
And always made with game meat.
Really?
All game.
Would that be from? Is that from the north then, or what was
From the north, yeah.
Right.
So
okay.
they would make a Nargisi kofte. You would call it Nargisi, of course, meaning something with a heart in it.
Right.
So the egg is the heart in it. And game meat. So when my dad would do that, it was mostly with wild boar and venison.
See, I love it when you come in, like an encyclopedia. Just when you think about, about food, this gentleman arrives and just top trumps everything that you knew about food. But look, roll this over. I've seen it done with these brilliant with haddock as well, isn't it? Really,
oh, yeah.
with if you take mashed potato and haddock, almost like this fish cakey sort
Beautiful.
of thing, which is also delicious as well. But I've seen chefs do it with venison, all that kind of stuff. The important bit is, I think, really to get the sausage meat that's not too lean, because otherwise it's too dry.
Yeah.
But also not too fatty. So that's the important bit. If it's too fatty, it'll just burst open as well. So once you get your nice little cakes like this, mould them over. You can pop these in the fridge just to firm up a little bit. Then we're going to drop these in the fryer. Now, when you drop these in the fryer is actually lower than usual. So it's about 160, something like that. And what you want to do is cook these gently about 160. If the fryer is too hot, what will happen is the crumbs will brown, But also, the important bit is the filling, as in the sausage meat's not going to be cooked. So I'm going to continue to do one more of these before I get on and do the dressing. Now, as you know, when we started chatting to suppliers from around the country, all over the country we've been over the last few years, the importance of the amazing produce that we have in this country. And I think none more so than recently, with the weather that we've been having, everything else that we've been going through as well, Brexit and all this kind of stuff, I think it's important for you to sort of meet the producers all around the UK. And today we're going to speak to a guy called Simon Mead, whose family have been farming in the Chiltern Hills for almost 200 years. So I can see him there in his sort of the factory part of the farm. Nice to speak to you, Simon. How are you?
Hi, James. How are you?
So, very good, thank you. Now, we're intrigued about this rapeseed oil. I'm just going to finish off doing this one, really. But tell us about the farm, first of all. And you've been farming there for a couple of 100 years.
Well, not personally, but the family's... I'm sixth-generation farmer. My son is seventh. And, yeah, we've been on this same patch for quite a long time.
But what was your farm originally then? Obviously, was it a mixed farm? Was it always arable? What has it been? How has it changed over the years?
It would have been mixed. They used to be millers, so cropping would have been an important part of that farming. But it would have been horses and cattle and in the early days. And it hasn't, apart from the horses, it's still a mixed farm. We got cattle, sheep, arable. We rotate the crops around the farm, so it's still a mixed farm.
Tell us about how it all started for you then, and how the actual extraction of oil started. Really, when did that all happen on your farm?
Well, we started growing oilseed rape as a break crop back in the 80s. It was for industrial purposes then. We couldn't use it for human consumption, and the byproduct from that couldn't be used for cattle feed. So the Canadians, they developed a rapeseed oil that was suitable for human consumption called canola oil. And that was available in the 90s or just before. And we've taken on those varieties and we now press it on the farm.
So this is if people want to see it in its raw state, as in before you press it, this is what you've got. Some behind you which people will be looking at this going, your plants need a bit of water in the bucket, but this is
here.
Exactly. This is what it is, don't it? Tell us about how you grow it and how you end up with what you've got next to you.
Well, it's in the ground a long time, 11 months of the year. So it's planted in August. It steadily grows up until the winter where it becomes a bit dormant. The pigeons love it. Over those months it's dormant. And if it survives the winter, it grows, it flowers, it produces a pod. And around July time, it goes brown like this sample here. And the little pods are full of seeds. And that's when we go in with the combine harvester, and that separates the seeds from the pods. And we bring the seeds back to the farm, put it in a big silo, condition it, and then we draw on that seed supply all year round.
So you only press it when you need it, is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
So the actual seed, and I'm just showing people what's inside these. When you see, this is actually where the oil is. It's about nearly half the product in front of me is oil. Is that right? About half the seed is oil?
Yeah, 45 up to 45%. Because we cold press it, we can't get all that 45% out. If we sell it as farmers, sell it off the farm and goes to the big producers, they would use heat and solvents to get every drop of that out. But as we cold press it, we only press it once. We don't use heat or solvents. And we have to live with what we get out on that first pressing.
Now, tell us about, obviously, this year. This year's not been easy for you in terms of the weather. Weather's been horrendous for farmers, as we know. It's not just this year's going to be horrendous, but it's planting stuff, I'm assuming, for next year that's the difficult thing for you.
Yeah, right across the board, not just on the farming side of things. Vegetable growers are struggling with getting the crops in the ground for the autumn. You know, the cauliflowers, the broccoli, and such forth. They're all going to be pretty short this autumn. That's what they're saying anyway. But at home, we'll be. Yes, we're keeping our fingers crossed for a lot of rain to get this year's crop away.
Well, I wish you all the best of luck with it. Thank you very much.
Marvellous. Thanks, James.
Thank you very much. Now, there you go. So Simon's got this. This is this rapeseed oil. I'm making it like a mayonnaise, but you can tell the difference between using a sort of a rapeseed oil and a vegetable oil in terms of the colour. The colour you get from vegetable oil is white. Look at the colour from this rapeseed oil.
Beautiful.
And it's quite interesting. It's done in the same way as sort of olive oil. That definition of cold pressing. Cold pressing is the first press, the best press. And you get this beautiful colour from it. So many times you get the oils that are flavoured. I see you've got some smoky oils as well there. There's a little bit of truffle oil as well. But I'd urge you to start with this sort of one, and you get this amazing sort of flavour from it. Now, I've turned this into sort of a little garlic mayonnaise. The best way to do that is take garlic, but to cook it. So you just either boil this in a little bit of milk is the best way to do it until it's soft. And just add a few cloves of these. Otherwise, the garlic is really, really strong to this. Plenty of lemon, like that. Good squeeze of lemon juice. Pop this in, but you can flavour it with whatever you want. I mean, I've also got in here, which I absolutely love with mayonnaise. You take some watercress. You can actually add fresh watercress to this, and it produces
a lovely
this
colour.
Oh, it takes this. Look, I'll add a little bit to it, but you can just
sharpness there.
Yeah, you can put some fresh watercress in here and blend it, and it produces this amazing flavour with it. This lovely pepperiness as well. But I'm going to keep blending with that. A little bit of black pepper. Now, obviously, the more watercress you add, the greener it will become. That's that one. You've got your little pot over here. But this is your simple little rapeseed oil mayonnaise, look. I mean, it's just ace. And once you make it like that, it lasts for what, 4 or 5 days in the fridge?
Easily.
Like
Easily.
So we're just going to lift this out. Bit of that. And then, of course, we've got the Scotch egg. We then take these out like that.
Ah, they look great.
But just to leave them to cool a little bit, I think, more than anything else. We'll grab our nice little bit of blueshy watercress. There we go. And then I can lift these out. There you go. Should I open one?
Yeah, of course you should. Of course you should.
I knew you'd say that, you see.
Yeah. Again, because that's the important thing is, again, the boiling of the egg.
Oh, look at that.
That's perfect.
Right? Nice little bit of that. Do you know what? I'm quite happy with that. So there you have it. My Scotch eggs, perfectly cooked. A nice little bit of sort of rapeseed oil, watercress, garlicky sort of mayonnaise to go with it. There you have it. Easy as that. Right, still to come, we've got dishes from Cyrus and Chef Daniel Clifford, and I'll be serving up a plate of pork for Joe Sugg very shortly, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, me and my Mini are hitting the road on another one of my food adventures. Do you want one? You can have them all. Welcome back. Now, there's a masterclass in cauliflower coming up a little bit later, and I'll be back in the kitchen with social media and Strictly Come Dancing star Joe Sugg shortly. OK, it's time to take a look back at one of my favourite ever food adventures. This week, my travels are taking me to Devon, where I'm serving up a recipe for beef that makes use of some very special local produce. Enjoy this one. It's a beautiful place, and I thought, pick this beautiful place to do a wonderful little steak dish using these amazing mushrooms that we got from the farm earlier. Beautiful colour when you get mushrooms like this. I'm actually going to do 3 different things with it. I'm going to char grill some, I'm going to pickle some and turn some into a ketchup. But I'm going to serve it with this lovely Dartmoor beef, which I've got from a lovely butcher just over the top of the hill there. But you can see this is absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to char grill this and serve it with a selection of mushrooms, because I think it's the perfect combination. So a little bit of black pepper and a nice amount of salt. And I've got my barbecue, my trusty barbecue heating up, and we'll just stick this on. So we'll cook 3 steaks in there. This one's for my dog. Now, while that's cooking away nicely, we're going to turn our attention to our pickle. Our pickle is really simple. We use rice wine vinegar for this. Don't start using malt vinegar, it'll completely destroy it. It's not pickled onions you're making, it's pickled mushrooms. And for that, you just pop the vinegar in the pan, like this, with some sugar and a bit of salt. And a nice amount of salt as well. So all you want to do with our pickle is just bring this to the boil. Looking good. Now I'll wash my hands. Sorted. Meanwhile, over here, we're going to turn our attention to these wonderful mushrooms. Now, when you're pickling mushrooms, pick the ones with great colour. These wonderful farm mushrooms, look at these. You just peel them off like this. They're just fabulous. Look at the colour of that. It's a thing of beauty, look at it. We take our pickle and we just pop our mushrooms in and just allow these to wilt down. And just look at these ones. Gorgeous. We just break these mushrooms up. Like that. I'm just going to take a few of these and just soften these nicely. All the while, we'll just keep our eye on our steak. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Right, well, that's on. A few more of these mushrooms, why not? Just break them open like that. Just with a few of those in there. It really transforms the flavour. Just leave those to one side. Meanwhile, we turn our attention to the rest of the mushrooms. We can then grab our nice large ones that we've got in here. Just look at these fellas. Colour of them. Amazing. And you can actually treat these like steak. Literally treat them like steak. Cook them like steak. Nice little bit of olive oil. Keep my eye on my steak. Oh. Just look at this. Delicious. And then a bit of salt and pepper on here. And then we just pop these straight on the barbecue. When you get mushrooms like this, they're meaty. They genuinely are. They taste meaty, and they can really handle quite robust, strong flavours. So you can pickle them, you can soy them, you can do all manner of different stuff with them. All the while, you're keeping your eye on your delicious bit of steak, like that. While you're doing that, you can have a little drink, catch the view. See, look at these. Look at that. Beautiful mushrooms. Just check those out. It's all under control. Right, while our steaks are cooking nicely, our mushrooms are just going to leave to one side. You right there? Look, and then I'm going to turn my attention to what I've got in here. I've got a mixture of sort of these wonderful little shiitake mushrooms, and all I've done is just basically bring this to the boil with water, nothing else. About 200 grams of mushrooms. You can use dried mushrooms if you want, but fresh like this are amazing. And then what you need to do is pass this liquid off. Don't throw it away, because that's the bit you need. You can keep the mushrooms, use that with garlic butter, that kind of stuff if you wanted to, but the liquor is what we want. And all I've done is mix that with some rice wine vinegar, a bit of ketchup mayonnaise, which is like a reduction soy, that kind of stuff, a bit of soy, a bit of sugar, bit of salt, brought it to the boil, and then thickened it. But you thicken it with this sort of stuff. It's called agar, which is like a seaweed powder. If you're doing anything vegetarian, you can use it for jellies, that kind of stuff, instead of gelatine. But what you're going to do is set that, let it go cold, set it, and then blitz it. And in here, I've got this amazing mushroom ketchup. This is brilliant with steak. But all I'm going to do now is just take our steak off, because this is ready. Just look at that. And then I'm going to top this with a similar sort of flavouring. We're going to use some of this. This is ketchup mayonnaise. It's a really, really strong sort of flavoured soy. It's wonderful. With steak, chicken, even mushrooms, it's just delicious. But you just brush that over the top. Look. We can grab our plate and take our wonderful char-grilled mushrooms. Just beautiful as they are, really, like that. And then I've got some of these pickled mushrooms. They are amazing, these sort of things. But particularly these type of mushrooms. Don't go pickling a bit of button mushroom. They look a bit odd. Just a few of these on over the top. Get rid of that. And then what we can do is grab our steak. You need to leave it to rest as well. Let's put a few bits of steak over the top. And then, of course, you've got this mushroom ketchup. This is fabulous. And you can see the texture of it. I'll just squeeze it out on here. But look. It's thick, but it doesn't melt, if that makes sense. You just take a little bit of this over the top. And there you have it. My barbecued steak with soy glaze, mushroom ketchup, pickled mushrooms, and char grilled mushrooms. How good does that look? Enough for two? One, actually. Only kidding. Steak and mushrooms this delicious? I'd be Billy No Mates if I didn't share it with this crew. Now, it's an amazing dish, that. I remember it tasted wonderful. Right, there's still loads more to come this morning, including a cauliflower masterclass, and we've got recipes from chefs Cyrus Todiwala and Daniel Clifford. But I'll see you again in a couple of minutes where I'll be treating to my guest Joe Sugg to pork with a cider and mustard sauce. I'll see you in a minute. Welcome back. Now, coming up, I'll be teaching you everything you want to know about cooking and preparing cauliflowers in this week's Little Masterclass. And Chef Cyrus Todiwala and Daniel Clifford will be firing up the hobs very shortly. But first, I'm joined in the house by a man who's a social media star, ballroom dancer, a presenter, an actor, a writer, and now a gardener. It's Joe Sugg.
Hello.
Welcome to the house. Was there anything I missed out of that as well?
I sound like a Swiss Army knife.
You've done quite a lot, haven't you, really?
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse in a way. It's like I can't keep still. I've got to keep trying new things.
Why? Why is that? Where do you get that from? I'm gonna cook you this pork with potatoes, and I'm just gonna do these wonderful little roast potatoes. But why is that? Where do you get that drive from?
I don't know. I think it's a curiosity to. I think I've always been quite a creative child. My mum and my dad both very creative, very good artists and things like that. Very, very, very creative. So I guess it's kind of probably inherited from them slightly, but also I think because of the last sort of 10 years of my career and the sort of whirlwind that I've been on with social media, it kind of opens up a whole new world to you of trying different things and being able to sort of take it to a certain level, I guess.
But are you saying that about your parents? It's a far cry away from what you started out your career, the internet really, and particularly social media.
Yeah.
You got that from your sister, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah. So my sister, she would be known on the internet as Zoella, so she kind of, in a way, sort of paved the way in that kind of, I guess, that kind of YouTube sort of era. Right. This is going back 10 years ago now.
Oh, such a long time.
It's such a long time ago. And,
that's an awful long time, yeah.
I mean, she's always kind of been, in sibling relationships, there's always one who is, the sort of the leader, I feel like. And I'm the younger brother. Right. So she was very much the director. But, yeah, so I sort of gave it a go. I appeared in one of her YouTube videos to begin with, and people wanted to see more of me, so I thought maybe I will give this a go. But at the time, I was still a roof thatcher, but I started doing the YouTube stuff as a bit of a hobby on the side. Right. And when I started, you could make money from it, but it wasn't what it is today, probably. So it's still the very, very early stages. So
how do you do? How does it? I mean, dare I say? I mean, I should know, but I don't know. My social media people are going to go, "Why don't you know this? You should." I've been telling you this for ages.
I'll teach you after.
How does it work then? Is there something? Is there an algorithm? Is there something that works and something that doesn't work, or you just make enough for it to be spotted?
Yeah. Now it's back when we first started, it was very much we were so early to it, I guess, in terms of going at it from a bit of a business mindset, which we didn't intend to begin with. We did it because it was very, very fun, and it became a job as a result of it being very, very fun and us just generally enjoying it. But I think nowadays it's much, because it's been 10 years since we started, the whole landscape of it has changed, and social media changes so quickly, and now the people that grew up watching us, they're now, a lot of them now want to have a job in the social media industry. It's become such a big industry and it's such a well-known industry now that it's become like, I think there was a poll that was happening. I mean, there was a poll that they did, and it was asking like young kids what they want to be when they're older. And compared to what it was when we first started to now, the amount of young kids that now want to become a social media influencer or a gamer, like an online gamer as a career, it's just shot up.
But, you know, you mentioned the fact that, you know, people want to be famous and all that kind of stuff. There's some positives and negatives that have come out of this, particularly you associate with the music industry as well. Similar sort of thing, really. Social media, you know, it can have a positive and negative thing. You've seen all that throughout your
so it's
10 years of doing it.
Yeah, I have. Only because, like, it's, I mean, it's mainly, for me, it's mainly been positive. Like, it's been such an amazing experience, and you know, I still do it now. So, like, I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. So I still absolutely love it. But I guess, like, yeah, as it's one of those things where it's like you don't know what you're getting yourself into. I guess, like, when we first started, it wasn't a career. Like, there wasn't anyone that had sort of tried and tested the route we were going. So I guess, like, if you were trying to get into the music industry or the acting world, you can see what the top levels of that look like. You can look at the A-list, you know, Hollywood actors and stuff. Whereas for us, there was no one to sort of show us what the future was going to hold, I guess.
But you can see it now because, you know, people, you become obsessed with your phone. You know, people are too obsessed, as I always find. You know, particularly, you know, I said to the team that we've got and the restaurant team that we've got, you know, some of them are constantly on your phone, you know. I always think you should go out and look at other stuff that's out there. And it's not just the screen that's on your phone, but you become obsessed with whether the amount of followers. But, I mean, it sounds crazy. How many people have you got? And this is the great thing about this, it's global.
That's
so you've never met 99% of anybody that probably knows you.
No, and this is the weird thing about doing it, I guess, is that you make these videos, and there's a time period where I'd upload a video. I refer to it as a golden age. I used to upload a video, and then next morning I wake up, and it would be on like 1.2 million views just overnight. And that's because obviously America wake up and then watch it, and it's like, it's a real sort of like, it's hard to comprehend because it's just you see a number on a screen. But it was when you got to go out and actually meet those people, that's when it sort of hit home as to like how big this thing was and what an unusual but incredible sort of career we had.
And you go from that into sort of hit shows as well. I mean, we've got to talk about Strictly. Because you're coming out of something like that, you're the first sort of internet person to be involved in Strictly, you know. Because that must have been quite difficult, because, you know, Strictly audience. You know, they're a whole different audience altogether. They embraced you as well. So.
It was. It was interesting because online and like thing with YouTube is you've got so many like analytics and stuff. You can see exactly who your audience is. But with going into Strictly, it was I didn't know who the I knew of the audience from watching the seasons previously. I had an idea of it, but it was a whole new audience. So when I was announced, it was met with a lot of who? Like, never heard of it. And you get it every year.
Joe, the same thing when I did it. I did it 16 years ago, to be honest. They were going, who? Who's that geek? That's that geezer with the bandana on a Cooks on an Afternoon on Ready, Steady, Cook.
But they get to know you.
That's what it was. Anyway. So we're just going to quickly go through the sauce for this. So I've got some shallots, got some garlic, got a little bit of thyme. I'm going to take a little bit of brandy just to this. You don't have to, but we're just going to take a little bit of brandy. Well, hopefully.
I'm sit back, my hair's quite long.
Yeah, a little bit of brandy. I'll flame that. Not too much, because I like my grapevines. That's going to go in there. And then we got some cider.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this cider makes the most amazing sauce. You don't have to put brandy in it, but I think cider with this tastes amazing. So I've got the pork, which we pan-fried, which is just leaving to rest there. I'm not going to overcook it as well. And the idea is bring this to a boil now, and I'm just going to add some cream and different types of mustards to it. The potatoes cooking in the oven as well. But I mentioned at the top of this, you're a jack of all trades as well, author.
Yeah.
How many books is this one? Which number's this one?
This is actually my fourth book.
Yeah.
But it's the first one that's non-fiction. But this is
totally different. Totally different change for you.
Yeah. It was a real experience. I had. It's the first time I had to sort of sit down and write amount of words that much since like essay times at school. Do you know what I mean? When you had to sit down and write an essay sort of last minute. This definitely was not last minute, but it was like I set aside like a Tuesday for like months and months, and that was my writing day. And it was very, in a weird way, a very therapeutic process.
Because the ethos comes from the fact that you left London.
Yes.
You know, in that sort of surrounding busyness of London, you've left that, and now you come out to the countryside now.
Yeah, back to my roots.
Isn't this
in
amazing,
a way.
though?
You know what? I think it was during that whole lockdown time of when we were only allowed out for like one walk a day, that sort of era, and just going out and then being like, do you know what? I appreciate being out, just going to like my local, because back then I was living sort of southwest London, so I'd walk to Battersea Park, and just walking around Battersea Park, it was just, it had a complete shift on mood, and it's like, I sort of learnt to sort of spend less time scrolling through my phone and just appreciating what's around me, and having like making sure that sort of the balance between, I guess, like nature and the online world.
It's going back to what we were saying earlier, and it's amazing now. You actually, you know, every so often you look at your phone and you realise how little or how much you've been on it. It's quite shocking how much people rely on just this little screen in front of them now.
Yeah, you get a report coming through
in their world
saying your screen time was up by 17% at like.
Isn't that crazy?
6 hours. You're like, what? How? 6? But it's like, but it happens. And the thing is, I think like there'll be a lot of people hopefully watching this that know of someone who is on their phone an awful lot, or you know hasn't quite got that balance right of you know separating screen time from like real life time, and so it's it's a part practical guide on how to sort of rekindle that love with nature, and also sort of get that balance right between those two. A
little bit of cooking is what you want as well as gardening. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I'm just going to recap what you've got in here. So we got the shallots, got the garlic, got the thyme gone in there as well, a little bit of butter. Flamed it with a little bit. You can use a little bit of brandy. You don't have to. A little bit of cider, really. Double cream, a touch of stock, just a little bit of stock. You can get this from the supermarket. And that's your simple little pork dish done. And the key to it is not overcook it, of course, but the potatoes, look. I mean, I'm cooking in the oven behind me, but look at these.
Wow.
And then all you need to do is then grab yourself a plate, and we can grab our potatoes off here, which are lovely. These are just... And have the garlic in there as well. All I've done is crushed plenty of garlic, so you push the garlic cloves in as well. Yeah. That all goes on there. Like that, and then we've got this amazing pork, which the sauce is so simple, but you see, and this pork fillet or pork tenderloin as they call it, it's actually really inexpensive. They're about a couple of quid each. You just take a nice little bit of this pork tenderloin, and there we have it, a dish cooked in about 8 minutes. You're going to stick around for the rest of the show. I'm going to cook for you a little bit later as well, but hopefully like that. Our first dish done.
Oh, there you go. Amazing, thank you.
Not yet. Not yet.
Thank you.
There you have it. Pork tenderloin, done. Well, there you go. Have a taste of that. Tell me what you think.
Thank you very much.
Tell me what you think of that one. I'll have a little taste out of the pan. Why not?
So good.
Nice,
You're my new favourite person.
It's nice, isn't it? Really.
So good.
That's nice. That and it's so quick. It's like 8 minutes.
And that is the sauce as well.
The sauce is so simple.
Such a good sauce.
Right, we're taking Joe to another French classic, chicken chasseur. You don't see that on the menu very often, but it'll be on the show in just a while. And top chef Daniel Clifford will be cooking for us very shortly. But join me after the break, when the one and only Cyrus Todiwala will be serving up some masala fried fish. Enjoy that one. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Now we've got a masterclass in cauliflower coming your way, and there's still loads more to come from my guest Joe Sugg in a little while. But first, I'm here with a trailblazing chef who's pioneered top-class Indian cookery in this country at his restaurant Cafe Spice Namaste. It's the brilliant Cyrus Todiwala. Hey. Great to have in the house. What are we cooking then, chef? Because this smells amazing already.
Yes,
I'm assuming it's that.
That's the marinade.
It's not your aftershave. It's definitely that.
No, Mine must have worn out by now.
So what are we going to be doing then?
So today we're doing simply masala fried fish on a garlic and chili risotto. Very simple.
okay.
So we're going to start, of course, with the rice because it takes a bit longer.
You want me to fire up the pan?
Let's fire up the
you want a
pan.
little bit of oil in this then?
Yes,
do you?
please.
So is this isn't veg oil? What is veg oil?
Well, you can use veg oil, rapeseed oil.
Okay.
This is veg oil, but you can use any oil you like.
Tell me when.
That's fine. Because we got this beautiful thing to use afterwards.
Oh, we
as
got
well.
butter as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we must have that. Without that, doesn't work.
Okay, that's on.
You got your control, right?
Yeah.
So what we need there, before the oil becomes too hot, is to add your cumin seeds in.
So the idea is to add this not too hot then, is it?
Not too hot. We don't want to burn the cumin seeds because the important thing is that if cumin see the flavor coming out, we can smell it now.
Yeah.
And as soon as that is done, because I think your cooker is quite fierce,
Pretty good now.
a few strips of dried Kashmiri red chili first.
Okay. Now, are they always dried?
The Kashmiri chilies, you normally always get them dry because the Indians don't like chopping chilies like these. They like the thin, slender ones.
Okay.
Get a bit more heat in them.
Okay.
So that one is not for heat, but it's for flavor. So as you know, the flavor, that's for now. The chili going in for heat.
And how can you tell a good Kashmiri chili from a not good one?
There's lots of different ones. I mean, they look strange, but one of the things to look out for is
Put the garlic in?
Yeah, put the garlic in.
All of it?
All of it. Yeah, and when they are nice and clean like that inside,
Yeah.
that means the chili is good. And the aroma, if you just smell it, it's sort of...
If it's is it a little bit of
Sometimes-
fungus or mold, is it?
Sometimes they get mold inside, which is when they spoil your food.
Okay.
Okay, so while you do that, sir, the onions are chopped and kept for you.
Those want to go in as well?
Little change of color in the garlic required because it's still
Yeah.
going. And in the meantime, I'll talk about the marinade for the fish. So I've made a paste. I'm going to put 4 pieces of fish in it first.
So what is this marinade? What is
So
it
this
called?
marinade is simple. I call it the Parsi style marinade.
Okay.
Because it doesn't have any much heat in it, but it's turmeric, cumin, coriander, chili. So we'll go through that with lime juice. But here I've got 4 lovely pieces of hake. It's in season now. It's a great fish to have. White, very sustainable as far as British waters go.
Because we just finished, we just come out of Sustainable Fish Week,
Yeah.
which is a great information-led week about what people should be buying.
Yes,
And particularly the fish around the UK, which is changing all the time, isn't it, really?
it is changing all the time. And I'm the Oceans Ambassador for the Marine Conservation Society. And one of my... Yes, I am, unfortunately or fortunately. Yeah, I am the Oceans Ambassador for the
Right.
society.
Well, next week I'm going tagging and releasing tuna off the south coast. I didn't realise
Is that the...
you get huge waves of tuna to come in
Yes.
this time of year.
What's that tuna called? Is the famous tuna that you get on the south
A
coast?
big one.
Yes, but it's only for a month or 2.
Yeah, that's
September is the month I don't
That's
know.
the
when
one.
you
That's
want-
the one I'm going catch and release. Yes. So what have you got in here?
Okay, so I
it's
put
changing
in-
the subject here. What's the...
Turmeric powder,
Yeah.
cumin powder, coriander, bit of chili. Now, chili powders vary.
Okay.
Some are really, really hot. Some are not so hot.
So tell me about the powders then. Should people buy it little and often rather than big? I mean, you're using tremendous amounts, but should
Yes.
people buy little and often when it comes to chili?
2 things one can do. If they buy a big packet,
Right.
if you have space in your fridge, then keep your spices in the fridge.
Yeah.
They don't go off. They last much, much, much longer. Because whatever is there in it, from oils to essential oils to the flavors, they don't go off.
Right.
So I always tell people, if you want to store your spices without spoiling them, keep them in the fridge. They
I
will last
never
you.
knew that, you see. Keep them in your fridge.
Keep them in the fridge. So if you're buying little more than what you need,
Yeah.
if you keep it in your store cupboard all the time, the heat, the variation of temperature in your house will eventually get them. Yeah.
Now, I never
So-
really asked you this. Where did your love of food come from? Was it your parents? Was it eating out? And where does your love of food come from?
There was-
What made you want to be a chef?
There was not much eating out in our days.
Right.
We can say that again. But I think I was highly asthmatic. So I spent a lot of time at home. And when the 9 o'clock bell goes in school, mentally, you know it's 9 o'clock, so now I can start playing up,
Yeah.
And then the mum would say, drag me into the kitchen sometimes and make me do. So that's garlic paste.
Right.
And
And you can buy the paste now. You can see it in little jars
You can
now.
buy the paste.
That's okay?
Yeah, but I mean, we won't use it because Again, like we discussed before, the paste has a bit of acid in it to regulate it.
Yeah.
But you can put it in a blender at home, half garlic, half ginger.
Yeah.
Bit of oil and water, because that is the best thing to do for a marinade. Is once you mix oil into it, then you don't need to oil it again and again.
Right.
Right? And again, it's preservative as well.
So would these be the same spices if you want to do anything with like a yogurt marinade? Would it be the similar sort
You
of
can
things?
put yogurt into that, and that will be, you can make a tikka with that. Or you can
Right.
grill chicken, or you can grill fish, or you can grill anything else with it.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you got beautiful fish like that, folks, that's what you want. You want to see that the fish is not smelly. Fresh fish does not smell like most people think all fish smell. The fish is nice and fresh. You don't get much of a smell at all.
Yeah.
If you get the smell of fish in your hand, we don't throw things like these away. Just rub it on your hands. Smell goes. Chuck it in a dishwasher. Your dishwasher smells fresh. Your cutlery gets cleaned better. So don't throw it out.
Yeah.
Okay, and then of course you want to decide on how big a piece you want. So you want a chunk like that.
So this is beautiful hake as well.
Beautiful.
Which a lot of people are using for sort of fish and chips now. But hake, if you get it really, really fresh, it's quite powdery, wouldn't you say? You've almost got to leave it a day or maybe salt it a little bit.
You can, yes.
It can break up.
Yes.
It's not firm like cod. It can break up.
But it does break up if you mishandle it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so being gentle with it is very important.
Yeah.
And of course, you want to use your hands, but if you want, you can more than welcome to use a spoon or a spatula, and you're done. Keep that in the fridge for a few hours like we have over here. Thank you, sir.
This is doing my job, you see, now.
Thank you very much, sir. It's been a long time, James.
Usually sat there, you see, with a glass of wine. Now I'm having to cook for my supper. That's the thing.
But this is nice to be back like that. So what we'll do now is to just, because don't make a mistake, that will cook in 3 minutes in the oven. 5 minutes.
Because it cooks very, very quickly, doesn't it? Really?
Cooks very quickly if your oven is nice and hot or a grill is nice and hot.
Yeah.
And we just want the marinade to be sticking on tops a little bit, just like that. Yeah,
So I'll let you wash your hands, and I'll pop this in the oven then. So like you said, just once, about 3 minutes. I'll keep my eye on that. A nice hot grill. I've got the risotto cooking away nicely.
Yes, sir.
There you go. So tell everybody about your restaurant, really. We never get a chance to talk about your restaurant in London. And
So the new Cafe Spice Namaste.
yeah, this is your new place because you've moved. Yeah.
We moved.
Yeah.
The new Cafe Spice Namaste sits on the docks just behind or facing City Airport.
Yeah.
And of course, the skyline of Canary Wharf. And
Well, you got nice fish near there, haven't you? Really, from Billingsgate.
actually, people, yes,
It's pretty
nearby.
handy, isn't it? You
It's
can
hop,
walk
skip,
there.
and jump.
Yeah.
It's hop, skip, and jump. But actually, in the water, though there shouldn't be, we got people fishing there.
Right.
It shouldn't be, but they are pulling out, and people would think that London water is dirty, but they are pulling out bass that size
Really?
from the water. I've seen pollock coming out, and no one stops them, of course, which is what I don't like. But people are pulling out good amounts of fish from there. So that means the Thames is getting cleaner and cleaner. So we are nearly there, sir. We're nearly
So
there.
I'm not far off. Do you want this fish finish off with a little bit of lime or
Yes, sir.
something?
Just the finish. We'll give it a rest for a minute or so.
Okay. Because this
In the
fish is not
meantime,
far
let's
off.
grab some of this.
And how long would you leave this fish in there for before?
I would leave it for 6 to 8 hours,
Okay.
at least. You can marinate it the day before.
I'm only saying that because I'm going to have that for my tea tonight, so I just need to leave it in there for.
Yeah, just leave it in there. Just put it on a tray, bake it in the oven. Nice salad with it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Nice salad.
The fish is looking.
I'm going to put a few bits of pepper inside now for flavor.
Yeah,
Okay,
fish
just
is
to give it
perfect.
some flavor and color. You can add in spring onions if you like. You can add lots of mushrooms in there if you like. The most common risotto for poor vegetarians in this country at one time.
I love the chunk of butter that you just put in there as well.
This is a chunk of butter. I think I put a little slice of butter. I think our rice is nearly there.
It's not far off.
And now the coriander stalks going in.
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
It's all right.
Always love a commie.
Cheap one.
Yeah.
The colours look amazing as well.
Yeah.
And they say the reason for the peppers in at the end is taste, flavour, but also colour.
You don't want to overcook your peppers because they look horrible after that.
Right.
Okay, then I'm done.
Yeah,
You want
that
to
looks
taste
really
that,
good
sir?
to me. Yeah, ready when you are. We've got 2 plates here. Your fish is ready.
Yeah. So I'm going to
yeah.
turn that off.
Looks amazing.
That off? Ah, it's off now.
Your fork there ready. Let's plate that in.
It doesn't take that long, really.
Texture's lovely. Look at that. So is it this kind of a variant of what you do in the restaurant, or?
We do that.
Yeah.
I do that for events as well because I think it makes a lovely dish for small, dinners.
Yeah.
And if you can make the portion smaller, of course, it's a great second course dish. But that's a lovely dish anytime. No, yes.
It's pretty good to me.
Pick that up.
Some
put that
coriander
back.
there. Some coriander there if you wanted it.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm going for. The MSG of Indian cooking.
The MSG vinegar. So can you give us the name of this dish?
So I know it's masala grilled fish, but we call it masala fried fish. Traditionally, we would fry it. So masala fried fish on a chili and garlic risotto.
How good does that smell? Cyrus Todiwala, everybody. Brilliant. Right, we have to have a taste of this then.
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah, well, it'd be rude not to, but look at the fish is perfectly cooked. Look at that.
They're just
Didn't
flicking
you want
up
your?
and-
Didn't you want your plate?
I just thought I'll check what you're getting.
Hey, hey.
So I'll say mine is good.
I thought you'd done a deal with the director. He was going to get that plate.
You can still have that plate. I think it's great.
You're good at this, aren't you?
Yeah, sort of, sometimes.
Well, best of luck with everything as well. You're going to
Thank
stick
you,
around
sir.
for the rest of the day, so.
Oh, of course.
Cyrus Todiwala, everybody.
Thank you.
That's amazing. I'll be laying on lunch for my guest, Joe Sugg, a little bit later on the show. And I'll be giving you some recipe ideas for cauliflower in this week's Little Masterclass. But don't go anywhere, because after the break, me and Cyrus will be out in the garden with Chef Daniel Clifford to try and answer some of your cookery questions. I'll see you in a bit. You win something if you get the most questions right.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
It's an amazing prize.
Oh, I win or the customer wins?
You
Yes,
win.
I win
Everyone.
some.
Yeah.
Okay, we might get some right. We don't know.
Welcome back. Now I'll be giving you a masterclass in cauliflower in just a few minutes, and I'll be chatting some more to my guest, Joe Sugg, at the end of the show. But first, I'm here out in the garden with Cyrus Todiwala, and we're joined by a chef whose Midsummer House restaurant has put Cambridge, in fact, the whole of the UK, on the culinary map. It's the fabulous Daniel Clifford.
Thank you.
Welcome back, boss.
Thank you.
This
thank
is
you.
quite nice to be
It's
sat out
lovely,
here,
yeah.
isn't it? Normally got you working at this
Yeah, normally I'm
moment,
cooking your lunch. Yeah,
We've just
so-
got bird song going on at the
Yeah, it's
moment.
beautiful, isn't it?
It's
Look.
nice, isn't it? There you go. Now, over the summer break, we've had loads of questions from you lot at home about food and cooking, so I thought we would try to help as many of you by answering them as we can throughout the show. In fact, throughout the shows, to be honest. So if it's okay with you two, you're going to be... It's like a quick-fire answer.
Perfect.
Yep.
The winner of which gets a speedboat.
Okay.
You're miles from the sea anyway.
I want
that's
the- I want
perfect
the
for-
bully.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we're going to start off, and there's some really good ones. I'm not going to start off with those, but there's some really good ones later on as
right.
well. Which we do this chef's thing at the restaurant, and where people ask questions to the chefs, and these ones are always the popular ones as well. So we're going to start off with a couple of food ones first of all.
Yep.
This comes from Liz. I've got quite a lot of turnips in the veg box. She gets these veg boxes thing, which I think is a great idea, seasonality-wise. No idea what to do with them. They always seem to taste sour with her. So, turnips.
I peel them, put them through a mandolin really fine, use them like a coleslaw, or I would cook them in tin foil, garlic, butter, some rosemary, some thyme, and bake them on papillote, and then I would basically just like roast them in the oven afterwards.
Dauphinoise are good with as well. You could do
Of
like
course you
potato
can,
and
yep.
turnip dauphinoise, yeah?
But even though, turnips are also seasonal, though we can
Yeah.
see them in the market. But if you're getting them in season, why not make it in some lovely pickle? So simple pickle.
So an Indian pickle or
Indian
like
pickle,
a
but-
Japanesey sort of pickle?
No.
Vinegar.
A little bit more oomph in it.
A little bit more oomph.
Yeah, but not so much vinegar in it, as
Right.
much as you would put spices into it, and then let it cool, slowly settle down into a lovely pickle.
Right, we've got D. I can never get onions to become crispy. Soggy onions aren't great in a nice biryani. Crispy onions.
Easy. So buy the smaller onions first. Buy the small onions, core it out, slice it as thin as you can, wash it, soak it in chilled water for about 15 minutes, drain it out completely, squeeze the water out unless you have a salad spinner,
Right.
and then fry them. And they will stand, deep fry them slowly, take them off and let them drain well, but take them off when they're lightly golden because the carryover cooking makes them black otherwise.
Okay.
And then they'll be standing up like that.
So you're learning as well while we're doing these, is it?
Washing the onions, I hadn't heard of that one.
Yeah,
Kev.
exactly.
I'll be honest with you, that's going in the notebook.
There we go. It's brilliant, you see. And moving away from food, this is more on sort of us and our opinions of bits and pieces. So we've got Margaret. What's the favourite country you visited for food?
Well,
The favourite country for food in the world?
I know.
Because it changes
Yeah,
Yeah, it
decade to
changes
decade.
regularly. Yeah,
changes,
yeah, it changes.
I mean, having worked in Switzerland and France, yes, comes as first choice,
Yeah.
and worked with them old masters. But if you, I mean, for me, going through Italy,
Yeah.
just driving around, stopping anywhere, I get great flavors, great food coming through.
Right.
So I do love going back to India.
What about yourself?
I think France is still like really in my heart, only because of the regions.
Yeah.
Because you can drive through the regions, and there's nothing better than a peach straight from the market that's never been into the fridge.
Yeah.
And the cheeses, like you
Oh.
go through Loire Valley and then you get down to south. It's amazing, but. For me, the key destination in France would be Lyon because
Lyon.
that's the home of.
Home of classic French
Yeah,
cooking.
exactly.
Well,
Beautiful.
it's interesting you say both of these countries. You got the French mentality when it comes to food, that they're almost always right when it
Yes.
comes to food, and that's the problem with, I think, over the years, they're not willing to embrace food from around
Different
the world.
cultures.
That's what's made
Yeah.
our country stand on the culinary
Well,
map, I think.
Absolutely.
we've got inspirations, and I don't think any of us are scared to try different things. I think in France they're still very much down to their discipline.
But then when you look at the Italians, it's very,
Very similar.
flamboyant
Yeah.
even before you get the food. The country that I really like,
Yeah.
and I just think it's just amazing, and they're both similar in a way in terms of the way they look at their food, is Japan
Yes.
and Spain.
Yes.
Because I think they've got phenomenal ingredients. They're brilliant at cooking them, and they just put it in front of you and go, there you go.
yeah, they don't.
I know it's the best.
I can.
I don't need to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, but we know
I
that.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go down San Sebastian and you're in heaven.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
And Japan is always
If I
been-
was going to go anywhere for the weekend, San Sebastian would be.
San Sebastian.
And Japan is one of the
Best
places
cheese,
where,
best-
if I wanted to book a whole day, and hopefully, Margaret, you're looking at sort of foodie destination as well.
The best San Marcelo and Lyon.
Now they're all kicking off now, you see. But yeah, anyway, there you go. You've got four countries to choose from as well. Well, this is a good one. Penny, this is the question that a lot of you need to ask a lot of chefs. What do chefs eat when they're not working in the kitchen? Now, I know that if you don't answer this correctly, the chairs are electrified, and I'm going to electrify both of you.
Okay.
Honestly.
Honestly.
Now, I can tell you, I had a doner kebab last night
Okay.
with cheesy chips. I'm happy to say that.
Yeah.
I had a doner kebab.
I had a cheese, coleslaw, and bacon sandwich last night
Knew it! It's coming out.
with brown sauce over the top. It was beautiful.
Go on then, chef.
Well, I didn't get to eat much tonight because we were at an event. I came back, I was hungry. So 2 fried eggs for me at night.
2 fried eggs. There you go.
But I can have KFC or Nando's or whatever
Yeah, I
sometimes.
don't. I'll be honest with you.
It's great food.
I had a
Yeah,
sausage and egg muffin on the way here.
there we go.
I love it. I love it, you see.
That's my
I love
secret
it.
in the
2-star
morning.
Michelin and goes into a...
No, I'll be honest with you. I think breakfast is probably the most...
And that's my favorite,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bacon and egg
Right,
muffin.
anyway, we'll go back on the food before we get into the newspaper here. Right, Kel wants to know, what do I do with duck eggs other than mayo and ramen and bits and pieces? Duck eggs.
Well, go on.
Go on, use first.
Well,
chef.
no, I watched you do a Victoria sponge with duck eggs, and I'll be honest with
remember
you,
doing that,
I've used duck eggs in my sponges since because I just think the end of the day is I saw it happen that day, and it's just changed it. So for me, I would
It's
use
much
it.
richer, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but
the colour.
I remember we had this conversation. It was about the Women's Institute, and you were getting hassle about it because you said duck eggs, but it works. They get a better. You get a better lift. The product is amazing.
Don't put it into a WI competition. You'll still get banned.
Not.
We made Victoria sponge for the Women's Institute. I never get live it down. I put cardamom in the icing.
Oh, no, you can't.
But duck eggs, you know.
Right, go on then.
But duck eggs, I think if you just soft boil them,
Yeah.
maybe duck eggs are a bit longer, 8 minutes. And then once it's dry, just deep fry the egg and see how beautiful it is. And put it on a lovely toast, soft toast, lots of butter, cut it into half, and just enjoy it, and you're in heaven.
Right, two foodie ones, really. Bob lives in the south of France, and one of the plants that he has loads of in the garden is celeriac.
Really.
Apart from shredding it and putting it into salad, which is remoulade, isn't it? So, celeriac remoulade over there. What else can I do with celeriac? I absolutely adore it in soup. I think it's amazing, thinly sliced and fried in crisps. I think it's just fantastic. Celeriac.
Puree is beautiful.
Yeah.
So cook it in milk, blend it down afterwards. A little bit of the milk is absolutely stunning. Salt baking it is just so make a salt crust, egg white, flour, and lots of salt. Make a nice crust to go around, bake it in the oven, leave. The thing about salt baking, especially vegetables, is don't break it out as soon as it's cooked. Leave it an hour, hour and a half to relax, and so all the juices go out and you get that salt penetration. And then you can cut that into discs and fry that. Beautiful.
Pickles?
Pickle, definitely. I use them in my pickles. I'm looking at him because I'm thinking what he's saying.
Yeah.
But pickle, but also, so we shave it very thin, cook it with some onions, ginger, garlic, and green chili, bit of cumin, arrange it in a pan, and then break 2-3 eggs on top and just cover the pan and let the eggs curdle on it.
Ah, nice.
And they taste amazing. Just cut the egg out and eat it with the celeriac. I'm an eggy man, so you know.
Nice, nice, nice. Right.
I've noticed that, Chef. You're doing a lot of egg work today.
Exactly. It'll be sponsored by the Egg Brewery next week. You can find that one out. Right. Now, one more question from Tim. I've tried so many times unsuccessfully to make sweet potato chips. I can never seem to get them crisp. What am I doing wrong? I'm assuming because they contain quite a lot of sugar, quite a lot of water.
I think that's the biggest problem. And I think the end of the day is the only way you can get them crisp is cut them really fine and then fry them until they're really crisp, because you're not going to get that chip. You're never going to get a sweet potato to crisp on the outside and be soft in the middle. For the simple reason is there is too much sugar in. So for me, it would be slice them really fine, cut them into a julienne, which is a thin strip, and then fry them.
You can almost tell that when you're frying them anyway, the amount of steam that comes off.
Well, also, when they stop bubbling, take them out, because that's when they're cooked. And I'll be honest with you, sweet potato chips aren't my thing. They're one of those things that...
It's difficult to get right, and I think probably the best way to do it, if you want to do that, is maybe oven roast them, probably olive oil and stick them in the oven ready, and make sure the oven's really, really hot.
But you could try blanching it first and then doing it 3 times, as we do with the straw potatoes, as we do when we have very starchy potatoes and they go black instantly. The same thing with this. So blanch it once, take it out, blanch it second time, take it out, third time you fry it nicely, and the bubbles stop. And take it out quickly, but spread it out nicely. People make a mistake of frying things, then keep them in a pile, in a colander or a strainer. That's the worst thing, because at the bottom, they're stewing again. Spread them out.
Well, that's it. That's I was saying that's gardener's question time, and that's foodie's question time over. Now you know what chefs like to eat. There you go, and where they want to go and eat out for some food. That's all your questions done for today. But if there's anything you'd like to know about and want to ask in terms of cooking, then do get in touch. We'll try to answer them right here on the show. Now, Daniel, you're cooking a little bit later. Something different. Now, this is a trademark dish, isn't it? Really? I'm looking forward to this one. What is it?
So it's slow-cooked salmon with white chocolate and caviar.
White chocolate,
caviar,
salmon and caviar.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, this is... I think this would be the best dish I've ever cooked you. It's a unique way of...
Right up there.
It's a unique way of cooking the salmon, and I think the end of the day is like... Yeah, I'll be honest with you, this one is... it's a love or hate dish, and I think you're going to love it.
Oh, sounds good to me. There you go. Now, as well as Daniel's dish, I'll be serving up a chicken chasseur for my guest, Joe Sugg. So don't go anywhere, because after the break, we've got a masterclass in cauliflower that you don't want to miss as well. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, still to come, we've got a recipe from the world-renowned chef Daniel Clifford, and I've got another dish that I'm going to rustle up for my guest Joe Sugg. But first, it's time for this week's little masterclass. And this week's masterclass, we're celebrating a vegetable that's bang in season right now. It's the humble cauliflower. Now, love it or hate it, there's a variety of different ways you can cook with it to make sure you like it. Either raw, you can have it part cooked, you can have it roasted, you can turn it into a soup. It's wonderful. It's such a versatile veg to use. So we're going to start off with the cauliflower itself now, which is actually a flower that's been undeveloped. That's why the leaves are on there to protect that flower inside. Anybody that's growing their own cauliflowers at home and you leave them out in the garden will know that it goes from that into a flower itself afterwards. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to make a nice little soup with it. Now, for the soup, I like to use the white cauliflower. Now, also keep the leaves, because these leaves roasted and cooked on a barbecue are also really, really nice. But with the soup, to keep it nice and simple, we're going to start off with the cauliflower like this and then just slice it up. Now, the reason why I'm slicing it like this, it's much, much quicker to cook. Like that. So the bigger the frets, the longer it takes to cook. It's as simple as that. And what we're going to do is just slice this all up like that. Take our pan, pop our cauliflower in our pan. Now, the great thing about this soup, it doesn't contain any other ingredients apart from the vegetable that you're using, the cauliflower, and milk. All right? And you just want to take some milk like that. So just pop the milk over the top. We'll bring that up to the boil. Now, the next one over here, I'm going to use a different variety of cauliflower. You see you get different textures. The green cauliflower is usually a combination where they cross a cauliflower or the broccoli and you get that different colours. But look at the amount of sort of different varieties you get as well nowadays, all of which are produced in the UK, and particularly this one. This is absolutely fun. Romesco cauliflower. This is absolutely delicious. Now, I actually keep, like I said, these outer stems really, but for this one, when we roast it, you can just take the cauliflower, slice it through, but look at the colour of that. It's amazing, this veg as well. And what we're going to do is just roast it. So the cauliflower soup's happening over here. For the roasted one, we just take some butter. And this is where cauliflower, you can add so many different other flavours into this as well. So a combination of butter and oil. So I just use a little bit of veg oil in this, like that. And we're going to take our cauliflower and pop it straight in our pan and start to roast this. We just want to get a nice bit of colour on this, and this is where we can increase the flavour of the cauliflower. Now, there's several which works really well with this, and it goes particularly well if you want to do this with a soup as well, is a little bit of curry powder. It's fantastic, this flavour with cauliflower. But what I want to do first of all is just get a nice bit of colour on this first of all, and this is where we use a combination of oil and butter. The butter will start to burn, but look, you've got this beautiful, look at that. Glorious when you just cook veg like this. It really, really is. So we've got a nice little bit of soup cooking away nicely there. And then this is where we can add a little bit of the curry powder. We can just put that into the mix, into here. There we go. And add plenty more butter. But we can take this, you can see this foaming mixture now. It's important to put the spice in when you've got some liquid in there, because this spice is, you don't want it to burn as well. Now, I've got a hot oven over here. About halfway through the cooking, I'm going to add other things. A bit like, so to sweeten this up, really. I've got some sultanas, I've got some almonds, some chili, some mint and coriander, but I'm just going to roast these in a nice hot oven. So 220 degrees. Get that nice and hot, that's in there. Meanwhile, our soup, I'll bring this over here so we can just check on this a little bit easier. While that's happening, I want to show you a wonderful little salad. Again, you can use raw cauliflower for this, but this is where we use these glorious different frets, because I've been in France in the summer, and you think of the south of France, and you think classic salads, niçoise, that kind of stuff. And when I had niçoise in different restaurants, it meant so many different things. It was just seasonal veg, really, with tuna. But you add things like cauliflower, you add things like fennel, beans, and that kind of stuff. When you think of niçoise, you think of the classic eggs and that kind of stuff. A lot of the time, it didn't have actually eggs in it, really. So it was really whatever the chef had in season at that particular time. Either that or what was left in the fridge. But you just take a nice little bit of cauliflower. We're going to do a wonderful little salad with this. So I've got another vegetable which I absolutely love, radishes. Because when these are grown in your garden, they just taste totally different to ones you get in the supermarket. beautiful radishes. So much more peppery, so much more moisture as well. Absolutely delicious, and see, much bigger in size, but you've got a bit of those. I'm going to do a simple little dressing with this. I've got some beautiful spring onions like that, which you can slice up. And this was sort of an idea, came from, like I said, in France, this variant of this salad. Use even runner beans. You can just cut these on a bias like that. You just slice these through, and you've got a nice little bit of salad in it. It's all about great quality seasonal veg. So, same time now, we can then pop this into a little bowl. I've got some beautiful leaves over here, salad leaves. I put in ice water. The reason for the ice water is you shock it, really, rather than straight out of the fridge. Just learn to put the leaves into ice water, and they just, look at that, break them all up like that. Nice and simple. And then you can grab our veg. And this is what I loved about France. Look, they just stuck it all on. Look at this for colour. Like that. And then the dressing. The dressing for this is classic French dressing. Now, once you learn and you master this, it's ace. It always starts off with a little bit of mustard. Dijon mustard, really. So a touch of Dijon. While that's happening, we're multitasking now. I've got my soup happening over here. I've got my cauliflower roasting in here. Looks pretty good. Same time as roasting the cauliflower, we'll take our sultanas now. They can go in. Our almonds can sprinkle on the top. They can go in. And back in the oven. All right. So back to our French-style dressing. Mustard, Dijon mustard, always Dijon mustard. White wine vinegar, 1 part white wine vinegar to 3 parts vegetable oil. Never, ever olive oil, vegetable oil. We mix that together. Now you can see already this mixture split. And so many times you have a classic vinaigrette, French-style vinaigrette, and it's creamy. It's not split like your conventional oil and vinegar. Now, to bring that together, it sounds really weird, but you add a little bit of water, about a tablespoon of water in there. And if we mix this together, this dressing instantly goes creamy. This is your classic French-style dressing. And then all you need to do with that is take your dressing and sprinkle it over the top of your salad, and there you have it. Apart from the weather and Jules Taxi playing on the radio, I'd be back in France. Sorry, French. There are other music icons out there. But we just take a nice little bit of salad. It's so, so simple, that, and tastes amazing. So this soup is now ready. It's cooked. So you can see that the cauliflower's cooked. And we're going to take this and just pop it all into your blender. Now, it's a good idea to reserve a little bit of the milk back, because that'll change the consistency of the soup. So when you're doing that, we'll just pour all that lot in. Oop. Try and get it all in there. There you go. So what you do is pop this onto your blender. Now, it's important when you're using this blender in particularly, you double check to make sure Sam, our beloved Sam, who works for us over here, hasn't turned this on to full whack. If she does that, then I go on Gogglebox for the next 6 months as it sprays all over the place, which was what happened last time. So turn this down, fire it all up, and blend it. Now, if you wanted a puree of cauliflower, you just add less liquid, exactly the same way. But what we do now is just blend it really, really well. And I can tell this is a little bit too thick, so I'm going to add a touch of milk to make sure the consistency is right. So at the same time now we can season this. Now the thing is about soup, season it, particularly with salt. You think it's got enough salt in, double it. Put that in. You'll be amazed how much seasoning soup takes. Now, if you wanted to enrich at this point, you can add a little bit of butter, you can add some cream. It's entirely up to you. But if we just take this off, and look, pour that in there, you've got this beautiful, rich, white cauliflower soup that tastes amazing. Like I said, you can enrich it if you wanted to, but like that. And you can take your soup, look at that. And if you want to flavour this with a little bit of curry, that works as well. Put that in the beginning of the cooking, but don't put too much. You just want a little bit. There we go. And then we can finish this off with a little chefy drizzle of double cream. Maybe this is when you use a little bit of olive oil, maybe, over the top. And there you have a wonderful little simple cauliflower soup. I'll put that there to go with it. But not forgetting, you've got your roasted cauliflower, which is in the oven. Look at that. This is really, really delicious when you get this. And look, you can see your nice, the sultanas are puffed up because you've got the liquid in there, you've got the almonds, which are nicely coloured. And you can see the greenery from the cauliflower. It sort of chars, but you get this amazing flavour from it as well. I love this dish, I really, really do. So, it works so well with stuff like pomegranate now when you add to it. It's entirely up to you, but I'm just going to turn this down a little bit. In there, I've got some coriander, I've got some mint, I've got some chilli. I'm just going to take this and almost last minute, because of the freshness that we've got in there as well, take that in the dressing and you just pour that over the top. It's a wonderful little dish, that, whether you have it hot or cold. Roasted cauliflower. I've used romesco cauliflower, but it works with any of these. The only difference is you just got to roast it for a little bit longer, but it's perfectly cooked, lovely, nice colour to it, and there you have it. 3 ways with cauliflower. Done. Now, if there's anything you'd like to learn about in a little Mascus, then do get in touch. We'll see if we can help out right here on the show. Time now for a quick break, but join me again in a couple of minutes when the incredibly talented Mr. Daniel Clifford will be showing the rest of us how it's done. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, I'll be making a chicken chasseur for my guest Joe Sugg very shortly, but first, be prepared to be blown away, because whenever this man is in the kitchen, the food is utterly spectacular. Please welcome to the house, again, Mr. Daniel Clifford.
Thank you very much.
I've put you on a pedestal now.
Yeah.
Now you're not shaking, because the last time you were here, we had Claire Smith in here.
Yeah.
I've never seen you anything like it.
Tell me about
this.
Yeah, I didn't watch that show because of that reason, so I probably won't watch this one now.
So, first of all, tell us the dish that you're going to be doing, because this is a trademark of yours.
Yeah. So this is salmon. It's basically a salmon and white chocolate dish. So I've been doing it for about 10 years, but obviously COVID and some time gave me some time to think about it, and obviously things have moved forward in the industry.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is, this is a salmon dashi. So basically, it's a normal dashi that I've infused with roasted salmon skin.
Yeah.
The salmon itself has been cured in a hay salt, so it's basically freshly baked hay. So we bake hay in the oven, and then we blend it with fresh salt. And then what we do is we wrap it in, cure it like a gravlax.
Yeah.
So then that goes into the little plastic container. I know it's very strange, this. And then we...
Well, if anybody wants to see a little insight of your mind, you've got to go on to this snack thing that you've been doing as well, because that...
Snack Masters.
That, when you decided to do sort of, what was it, a shreddy... I mean, you were pulling your hair out at one point.
Well, yeah, because I was up against Claude, wasn't I? And Claude kept on phoning me, day in, day out, telling me that he'd finished and he'd done this and he'd done that.
It was brilliant.
And he didn't turn up with nothing, didn't he?
Did add enough.
Typical French, didn't bring anything to the party.
Right.
So basically, now what I've done is I've covered that in the dashi, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to smoke it.
Right.
So what the reason for this is, you know, smoked salmon is a favourite of mine, but with the hay and with the smoke and with the dashi, you get this amazing, amazing flavour. So that
Now you can buy these things from the internet. These little
smokers,
chefy smokers.
absolutely, they're brilliant. But also, look, you smoke your own salmon. So then, basically, this goes into this machine. This is called a holder mat.
Yeah.
So basically, this is designed to keep things like a roast, like big restaurants would roast 10 chickens, leave it in here, it doesn't dry out. So the idea is it keeps a consistent temperature, and the temperature after many trials, 54 is the perfect temperature.
54. And how long does it go in there for?
That has to go in there for an hour.
Right.
So, for the garnish for this, we take...
And you mentioned the restaurant. You've been 25 years now?
It's 24 this year, yeah.
20, so not far off 25. Is it?
25 is next August,
Yeah.
And it's we would have had 2 stars for 20 years by then as well.
I think that deserves a round of applause.
I'll be honest with you,
Is it something that you always wanted? Because it has become, you know, there are certain gastronomic places in the UK that are iconic. I think
James, look, can you see that?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
I've gone cold just thinking about it, because I'd never, ever, ever imagined it happening. When I got the first star, I was like in bits. And then 2 years later, we got the second star. And I'll be honest with you, since then, the first year was really rocky for me, because obviously I never thought we'd get to that level.
Yeah.
And I would say it's only the last 2 or 3 years that I've actually sat back and said, yeah, we're 2 stars, because you push and you push and you push.
Yeah.
But food changes, staff change, your attitude changes. But now I feel
you developed this. I mean, you have developed I mentioned, you know, there's certain restaurants around the UK. Yours been one of them in Cambridge, but you look at
Claude's.
You look at Sat, you look at Claude, but you look at those iconic places outside London, like yourselves, Le Manoir, those sort of ones, L'Enclume as well. Those
Amazing.
Those ones that have managed to do that without being in the centre of London.
Well, it's just, do you know, you never think it's going to happen. And 20 years that was, the day I got 2 stars, I said to myself, right, whatever happens, I want to keep it for 20 years. And I'll be honest with you, it's getting closer and closer and closer. Please let us keep it for the next 3 years. But I think it's, yeah, I never expected it, but it's made me a better chef, because it's kept me on my toes.
So you'll see in a minute the reason why he's 2 stars. So what have you got in this?
So here, this is iceberg lettuce.
Okay.
So this has been marinated in the salmon dashi. So basically what I've done is I've cut it really fine, and the dashi keeps the colour. So with this, I've got some lime segments. So basically this is lime that has been taken all the white pith off, and then basically I've put it into nitrogen, and that freezes it. So if you look, you can get some baby segments. Yeah?
Oh,
so
yeah.
That goes into the marinated lettuce.
Yeah.
Then a sprinkling of chives.
Interesting to me, you know, you've had this place for 24 years. Do you often look back at some of the first dishes you did when you put on and think, I'm going to put some of those on, and going, oh my God, what was I doing?
Well, I wrote a book, and I'll be honest with you, I put the first 3 or 4 in, and one was a palm tree, and it used to be a palm tree twill with some caramelised banana.
I remember that. I remember that. It was an iconic thing from yours.
Yeah. And I honestly, I thought, Daniel, you're the man, yeah? This is like the best thing in the world. And now I look back at it, and it's like, yeah, we're never ever going to bring that back. But you know, you grow up as a chef.
It's a moment in time, yeah.
Yeah. So right now we have this is a fish veloute. So this is 500 mils of nolly pra, 500 mils of white wine, and some shallots. You bring that right down. Then you add a litre of fish stock, bring that right down. And then you add 600 mils of double cream. Right. You bring that to the boil, so you've got a really nice fishy flavour. And basically, the idea of this is the white chocolate.
Right.
So white chocolate goes into the sauce.
What? How? Where was your brain at this moment in time?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. The sweetness with the caviar, it worked. I tasted it and I thought, oh yeah, we got something here. Yeah, you do. 9 times out of 10, things don't work, do they? But the thing is, there will be that.
You were telling me before we even started. He was telling me nuts and
pressure cooked nuts,
Coca-Cola. What were you want? And then fishing. What's all that about?
Well, it's the thing is I spend a lot of time
fishing.
Fishing and developing food and having fun with it. And I think, that's why people come to the restaurant. They want things that are different. They don't want things that are right.
And what about, I mean, I've never really asked you, you see chefs and they want to do 2, 3, 4, 5 restaurants. You've never had the urge to do any of that?
No.
Just stick with one?
Staffing one is hard enough, I'll be honest. Can you imagine staffing 5? No. I'll be honest with you, I think I still love to be in the kitchen. I still try to do every service.
Yeah.
I like working with the team.
Yeah.
I make enough money to keep it going.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I've got 7 kids, so I need to spend time with them. Being in restaurants everywhere.
Even though you need to spend time away from them.
The thing is, I just don't... It wouldn't be my restaurant if I wasn't there, because people still expect me to be there. So that's my idea. Right, so now if you look at the salmon...
Yeah.
Right, so...
That looks perfectly cooked to me.
So look, if you look at that bit there, the white protein is just starting to come out.
Right.
So that means that's perfectly cooked.
Yeah.
Now we take the lettuce.
Yeah. So this has been on your restaurant for how long?
Well, it's been on and off for the last 10 years, but it's only recently we made it a comeback because we started to look at Japanese products.
Right.
And start to look at Japanese flavours, and the dashi was one that was completely new to me.
Yeah.
So when that came into play, I thought, oh yeah, we can bring this back.
Yeah.
Right. So now what we do? Take the cauliflower puree. Oh, I'm going to change that plate. Sorry.
I've never seen that with you. I don't know.
Oh, look at that. Well, there's not many things that make me nervous.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Now we take the caviar.
So this is the herring roll one?
So this is smoked herring roe, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got a much more stronger flavour in smokiness. So now what we do is build a twill.
What is this?
So this is a white chocolate, but we've caramelised the white chocolate. So we've baked it, to be honest, I microwave it. So we microwave the chocolate, break it down into a tiny bit of crystals, and then we add the sugar and glucose to it, and then we bake it. So with this, we take a finger lime, which is like caviar. So we push the finger lime out, and if you can see, the little cells come out. This gives you... this cuts the flavour of the sweetness of the salmon and the sweetness of the chocolate. That goes on there.
So if anybody wants to know what attention to detail goes into a multi-Michelin star chef, then this is it. This is it.
Then a little bit of lime zest. Then some chives.
Yeah.
That goes on top of the salmon. And that sits there.
And this is all in your book. If people want to see this, I know you don't want to promote the book, but the book is spectacular.
Well, the book is, yeah, this is in it, but it's a different dish. So it's the one we used to do it on almond, and but I've taken the almond out. So now
it is absolutely spectacular.
The white chocolate sauce, and there you go, James.
Daniel Clifford, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
This looks spectacular. And you reckon this is... See, last time you were on here, you did this scallop thing. Well, what time before that, you did the scallop thing. I said it was one of the best dishes I've ever eaten on TV. And I stand by that, I mean that. But you think this betters it?
I think it's up there, definitely. There's no doubt about it. I think you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. I think you're going to love it.
Mate, there's no need to be nervous, is there?
No, I'm not nervous.
That is just...
Food's a crazy thing, huh? It makes you happy or makes you sad.
It's one of the best dishes I've ever eaten. Simple as that, isn't it?
Thank you very much.
It's just knockout, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't do this handshake stuff. And I only do it because it's a good mate, but that is absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on.
Thank you.
It really, really is.
Well, look, I'll be honest with you, that's it. For me, that's brought all the emotions to life in me. It makes me feel absolutely
Just make sure when you book a table, make sure that is on the menu, otherwise you'll properly kick off. But anyway, there you go. Daniel Clifford, everybody. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Right, you're going to stick around for the rest of the show as well. I'm looking forward to that as well. He's helping me cook at the end of the show. We've still got time for one more final course. So I'll be cooking a chicken chasseur for Joe Sugg, and he's cooking most of it after this as well, particularly doing the mash. But anyway, this is spectacular.
Good.
Welcome back now to the last part of the show, but I'm back in the kitchen with my guest, the one and only Joe Sugg is here. And to keep the applause going, because my sous chef for this cook just happens to be the two Mrs. Dad, Daniel Clifford. You think I'm going to leave you in a room over there? Well, we're back to normal now. You've got to work.
Exactly.
You've got to work. So we're going to make this wonderful little dish. Now, I had it in France about 2 days ago. Chicken chasseur. I love it.
I love it.
When was the last time you had it?
I had it about a month ago for staff, but it's one of those dishes you learn in college, you never forget.
You see, well, hopefully, it's called Hunter's Chicken normally as well.
Oh, that's how I know it, yeah.
That's what you know.
I was thinking, I've never heard of that, but
Never
now I
heard.
know.
So it's Hunter's Chicken. It can be done with any sort of game bird as well, partridge, pheasant, that kind of stuff as well. But we've got a beautiful bit of chicken over here, but you have to break it all down first. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the legs. So for that, we just remove the little tops over here. You need to sort of split this into sort of 2 pieces of dark meat, 2 pieces of white meat, or 4 pieces of white meat, 4 pieces of dark meat. So the first thing we do is just take the legs like that, cut them either side, and then you turn the leg over, and then you break its leg. Right, like this. The bone sticks out here. This is the best part of the chicken. It's called the chef's eye, the chef's oyster. So this is when you were at college. If you get this wrong, you get 2 marks. If you get it right, you get 10 marks.
I need a pen and paper.
So you can see where the chicken walks around, look. This muscle becomes really nice and meaty, this one and this one. So you take the knife in and you follow that and you cut it inside that little sort of chef's eye, which we've got in there, or the little oyster, and you've got 1 leg and 1 thigh. Do the same thing with it again. Break its leg like that. You've got the oyster over this bit. It's the part of the chicken that you need to fight over. So next time you roast a chicken, first thing you do, before you do anything, turn it over and eat that.
Right.
Because that's the tastiest bit. So what I'm going to do is take the chicken now, and we're going to cut this into legs and thighs. I'm going to pass it to Daniel. I'm going to start pan frying this, so I'll get that pan nice and hot for you. That goes on here. So we'll start colouring this as well. So you can use a combination of butter and oil if you want to, Sheffy.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Loads of butter.
Okay, yeah, exactly. But we're going to cut little V either side of here. And if you cut there and cut through, that's now another piece of chicken that we've got on here. So this is classed as your white meat as well. So you've got 4 pieces of dark meat. You've now got 2 pieces of white meat in here, which leaves you this bit.
Yeah.
So then all you do is you trim this through, like that. The French would probably cook this carcass in as well and pick on it. And then what we can do is just take this chicken like that, through there, and with a proper sharp knife, just press on it, and break it through. So then you have now 4 pieces of dark meat, 4 pieces of white meat. Like that. We'll leave that to one side, all right? Yeah. I think I've lost most people at this stage as well. All right. Now, we're talking earlier about your book, which we'll get onto a second as well, but I failed to mention a part of your career as well, the West End as well, because this is something... I mean, it's an amazing opportunity for you to be doing all that.
It was, yeah. It was off the back of doing Strictly. I had an audition to have, a West End debut in the show, in the show Waitress. And it was an amazing experience. I'd never sang on stage ever in my life. But I absolutely loved it. It was such a great experience. The cast I worked with, they're all so lovely, and it's an amazing experience.
It's amazing opportunities arise out of something as big as Strictly, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose, because you think of something that you're doing, and YouTube, we talked about that as well. So how many followers you've got across all social media now?
Across all of them, I can't remember the last one I counted, but I've been told that it's close to 20, I think. 20 million?
20 million?
I'll have to double check it, but I think that's what people are telling me, that it's across everything, yeah.
Wow.
Because when you're doing stuff like Strictly, you're in sort of this bubble. You don't realise how big it is until you entered into that world, isn't it, really? It's just, but like I said, it can lead on to so many different things. Saturday shows, don't think I'd have got a Saturday show if it wasn't because of Strictly.
Here we go.
That's
things do come from it, yeah. And that's like, I feel that's kind of what my whole career's been like, is sort of riding a wave, just sort of leading from one thing to another. But that's what's good. It keeps it like for me, keeps it fun and entertaining.
With a variety of stuff that you're doing as well. I mean, we mentioned the book. This is the book, if you didn't see it earlier. This is your 4th book as well that you've got on here.
Yeah.
Very different to the other 3. If people have got the other 3, this is something totally different for you.
Yeah, very, very different, yeah.
So what's this one about then, just to remind people?
So it's part memoir. So there's a lot of sort of like personal stories that I talk about growing up and things like that. But then it's also part guide into how to rekindle a connection with nature. So it's looking at things like find that balance between screen time and real life time. Finding a good balance between those two things.
It's nice that you're teaching that generation about that as well, because it can become a little bit obsessive, and that's where, you know, there are positive and negatives that I said to you earlier.
Yeah.
Positives that are great. I mean, us chefs, we do social media. It's a great advertisement tool. It's fantastic. But there can be a negative effect to it as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen both sides of things. I mean, one thing that I used to get quite a lot is sort of like burnout, I think, and you can, you know, if you've got these, essentially got these computers at the palm of your hand that do everything, and so it can get to a point where, and I definitely found myself in a position where I was just spending so much of my time scrolling, looking what other people were doing, and just filling my brain with stuff that I didn't need to fill my brain with. And then so I sort of had like a little sort of self-realisation of like, I actually need to work on this. Is becoming addiction. This is addiction to a phone, and you know, it's.
Because you must find it as well. You've got kids. Quite a few kids.
Yeah, quite a few.
You must. That was been polite.
Yeah.
How many at the last count?
7 now.
7 kids. You must find that awful lot.
They seem to tell me all the time how I'm behaving on social media. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it is. I mean, like I said, it is a powerful tool. But I think as chefs, you can embrace it, but sometimes you quickly learn.
It's the comments. When people make negative comments to you, it's very hard to bite your tongue.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is. It's difficult, but we've learned to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. His tail's going like that. Yeah, exactly. So we've got a mashed potato over here, chicken chasseur, hunter's chicken. You can do this with partridge, you can do it with pheasant, you can do it with guinea fowl, that kind of stuff like that. What we've got in here is I've got some onions. I've got these little baby shallots as well that you can buy these frozen. These are frozen little shallots as well, these little baby pearl onions. Tomato puree, a little bit of lardons in here. And then we've got the mushrooms. They go in. And then tomatoes. Now, there's 2 ways to do hunter's chicken or chicken chasseur. There is a classic sort of brasserie way, and then there's a chefy way. The chefy way would be to take the tomatoes, to take the concasse, take the seeds out of it, take the skins off it, and then dice it all up that you were learning at college.
And throw all the nice stuff away, and then just put the flesh in.
And throw all the nice stuff away. Exactly that. Or there's the sort of classic brasserie way, which I had in France, like I said, a couple of days ago, would be to take the tomatoes and throw them all in. A bit like coq au vin, it's got wine in it. It could be either red wine or white wine. Coq au vin could be either red or white wine. It doesn't have to be either. So you can take a little bit of this. That's going to go in. And then we've got some stock, chicken stock. That goes in. So you now add this chicken stock. And what we want to do is bring this to the boil. Look at this mashed potato. Look at this mashed potato.
It does look
Just
good.
a little secret, you've got to work it out, because apparently his dad's an amazing chef at making mashed potato.
Okay.
So
No pressure.
I'm going to
Daniel.
up my game.
So
No
push on,
pressure.
chef. Up your game. Up your game. We're expecting at least 2-star mashed potato. Out of this.
Okay.
All right? No pressure. And then you've got the key to hunter's chicken is this sort of stuff. This is tarragon. All right? Now, I know you're a keen gardener.
Yeah.
You must be growing your own herbs.
Yes.
And with a degree of success or not? With this nightmare weather that we've been having?
That's the thing. It was going so great until the weather that we've had. It has made it very, very difficult. But I've had loads of cucumbers.
Right.
I've had loads of cucumbers.
Potatoes. My new potatoes actually worked, which I was really happy about because my granddad used to. That was like his sort of speciality.
Right.
So I was so happy about that. Tomatoes, they're doing all right. So yeah, we've had some and runner beans, green beans. So we've had enough for.
Well, cucumbers, you can make amazing sauces out of it and stuff like that. Amazing. Yeah. Cucumber ketchup.
I've been soaking mine in Coca-Cola and then barbecuing them.
Really?
Amazing.
Look at this. You've been doing what?
Yeah, soaking them in Coca-Cola.
Right.
And then sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar and then straight onto a barbecue.
Like on a skewer?
Yeah. No, they just cut them straight.
Yeah.
And then griddle them. They're beautiful.
I'm going to try that.
Yeah, beautiful.
I'm going to try that.
Because I've grown a load and I've had loads, so many this year.
I want to know what you've been drinking when you've got all this white chocolate.
You wait till my next dish.
So look, we take our chicken out. You can either put the lid on it and finish it off on the stove, but what I've got in here is we've got the oven on. We then just pop it in the oven. And then this is where it can go in the oven for about an hour, something like that. Look at this, look at this. And you've got this sort of hunter-style chicken. And this is where I think it should be. You just sort of, yeah, this is, look at the colour of this. And you want it sort of, I don't say, they say, not, I shouldn't be saying this with next to a Michelin star, multi-Michelin star chef. Not perfect, that make sense? It is perfect, but do you know what I mean? The fat should be separated and split a little bit. I mean, this is just, to me, just the simple stuff like this. You take your... Look, John, I'll let you do the mash first.
Yeah.
So give me the secret of how to make the perfect mash.
Well, I would have boiled the cream first.
Right.
But my potato was already in the pan. Right. So I would boil the cream first, and then I would add the potato, and then... How do we want this on the plate?
However you want it. However you want to scoop it, chef. However you do want to do your fancy scoop.
Try my best.
My dad used to do it in a little mountain.
A mountain? OK, we can go mountain.
Don't get him started if you wanted a mountain.
Yeah. There you go. There we go.
There you go. Right, and then we got our beautiful chicken, which lift that. It's as much about the sauce as it is about the chicken as well. So when you got the bit of the white meat that we got in there. Obviously a little bit of the dark meat, which got in here. I'll clean the plate in a minute. And then you've got this beautiful little sauce that goes on the top. And the tomatoes just all sort of mush in together over the top.
This is why when the chefs do it the posh way, I don't think you taste the tomato because it's not cooked out.
Exactly right. I think the tomatoes we need to go in with the tomato puree right at the beginning and cook it all through. The taste of raw tomatoes with everything that's cooked, I don't think it works. There you have it. So there we have my version of Hunter's chicken with a mounted and mash by a multi-Michelin star chef. John.
Thank you. Thank you.
Joe, there you have it.
Thank you.
Well, best of luck with the book.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck with everything you're doing, and best of luck trying with that mash because you know pressure's on now. Pressure's on now. Chef, have a taste of this. I can't believe the last time you did this was staff food. I think it's brilliant.
Oh, Dad, close your ears.
Oh, yeah.
It's very good.
It's all right though.
Very good. Thank you.
What about the rest of it? Never mind the mash.
Sorry.
What about...
Well done,
Story of my life, isn't it? Really? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, don't worry about that. That's fine. Other books are available. Yes, good actor as well. There you go. Right, anyway, that's all we got time for today. A massive thank you to all my guests. Simon Mead, Cyrus Toddywaller, the brilliant Danny Clifford, and of course, Joe Sugg. We'll see you back at the same time next Saturday morning where we're joined by more great chefs, other brilliant guests. Until then, take care, stay safe, have a great week, and I'll see you next Saturday. Bye for now. It's a good one, that, chef. That mashed potato is all right, that.
Yeah.